Mr. Just Ask Joe and Uncle Mishorn.
Mr. Just Ask Joe. And I want to tell you about a quaint little spot called D. Nally's. Awesome food, great price, 970 South 3rd Street. Remember, D. Nally's, 970 South 3rd Street. Check them out. Get something good to eat. We here to jam on it. Did y'all like that, bro? Hey, bro. Hey. I know I threw a little rinse in there, right?
I didn't like that at all because it gets us in trouble online with Universal Music Group and Sony and all that stuff. I actually thought that we weren't supposed to be playing music, but it's all good.
Hey, jam on it. Jam on it. Be back.
Hey, it's the Truth Be Told show, y'all. It's what is this? Tuesday, April 12th. Let's see, Tuesday, April 12th. Let's see, that is officially 7 days away from my birthday. And this is the only Tuesday, April 12th, 2022 that you will ever get ever in your life. So guess what, folks? You better make it a great day and enjoy this Tuesday, April 12th, 2022. Back to you, Uncle Mishorn.
Well, let's go ahead and get Better Days with Peter Hayes. Welcome to the show, bro. You're part of this broadcast and everything now, bro. So good morning to you.
Good morning.
Hey, and just let it be known, guys, if you have the show playing on your computer or anything like that, you need to mute that. You need to mute your computer or anything. If you have the show playing in the background, then, just remember, it's going to create feedback. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, Better Days with Peter Hayes. Take it away, Mr. Peter Hayes.
Hey, Joe, and Just Ask Joe and Uncle Mishorn. It's Better Days with Peter Hayes. We got the three amigos here that I call us the Heavenly Oreo Cookie. It's great to be back on this Tuesday on the Truth Be Told, where we lay some heavy truth, and we're pretty excited. So on this segment, this is sponsored by the American Family Association of Kentucky. We appreciate their support. They've been promoting the traditional two-parent family, the God-centered family, for the last 35 years here in Kentucky. And we appreciate the work that they do, and we're happy that they're a sponsor of Truth Be Told show. So this segment, today we're going to focus on the family matters, the whole show. So we got some really great topics. So listen in, don't leave the dial, and feel free to call in and join this dialogue, because this is not a monologue, right? We're trying to promote a dialogue. So you can call in at 502-571-1240, and let's chop it up and see what you have to say. So we've been talking the last couple of weeks that the biggest, we all talk about problems. We see problems in our society, and so many of our leaders and individuals, even our clergy and our pastors and our business leaders, we talk about a lot of Band-Aids, the Band-Aids for the human being. And we put so many Band-Aids on a person just think about this, Joe and me, Sean. If you put enough Band-Aids on a man or a woman, they become a mummy. They're a walking mummy, aren't they? Because, we talk about this issue and that issue. We say racism is the biggest issue, economy, if people have more money. But the reality is, from God's standpoint, if we have strong, God-centered, two-parent families, that is the solution for co-prosperity for all mankind, happiness for all mankind, peace for all mankind. And it starts, since we're on a gospel station, we can talk about scripture and beginning. We saw that in the beginning of time, according to the Judeo-Christian scriptures, the first human parents messed up and created this mess in the world. So, and guess what? The same problem that they had is the same problem we are having today. So Adam and Eve, contrary to what most of the people believe, the fall of man was not eating an apple or a kiwi. They committed unnatural lust and fornication, and they gave birth to a murderer. So what are we seeing in Louisville? Louisville, Kentucky, 2020, we had 173 murders. And people were like up in arms. Because when I came to Louisville in 1988, and all three of us, I think something, Just Ask Joe and Uncle Mishorn, we're from different parts of the country. And so we have a different light on Louisville because we've been around the world. We've been around the country. And so when I came to Kentucky and Louisville in 1988, we were averaging about 45, 55 murders a year, back and forth, for the first 10, 15, 20 years. Now, we are, like I said, 2020, 173 murders. 2021, 188 murders last year. We're on record now to break 200 murders a year. And it's mostly coming from families that don't have fathers in the home. Now check it out. Adam and Eve fornicated, and instead of bringing godly children into the world, what happened? The first human family, and I usually in my lectures and sermons, it didn't take 10 generations or 100 generations. The story in the garden is that the first human family had a murderer in the first human family. The first son killed Cain, killed his younger brother Abel, and just like his daddy, Adam, and his mama, who didn't take responsibility for their actions, they blamed each other. He basically, when the Lord said, "Hey, where's your brother Abel?" he said, "What are you talking about?" Paraphrasing, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And Just Ask Joe and Uncle Mishorn, he had just murdered his own brother, and he acted like, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about." And he said, "Am I my brother?"
It makes me wonder. Whether Adam and Eve, what conversation did they have with with their kids about God? Like, good Lord, how could you try to fool God?
Well, yeah, they were separated. So here, people have to realize that the fall of man, the consequences was very profound. And as Mishorn knows, when we get into the principles and stuff, we go very deep into the principles of creation, which was the original ideal. And Uncle Mishorn's in the medical field, like, what is a healthy body? If you don't know what a healthy body is, you can't diagnose symptoms. So we have the first part of Genesis is about the creation, the beautiful thing, the garden, the ideal person, people, male and female, that the Lord created in his image and likeness, and he blessed them, and he gave them three basic, simple things to do. Be fruitful, which is become a mature, godly person. Create a godly family, that's multiply, and then if you do that, you'll have dominion over the earth. Three simple responsibilities. Now, they didn't do none of them. They weren't fruitful because they fell before they had reached perfection. They didn't create a godly family. They actually created a satanic family with a satanic blood lineage. And instead of having dominion over the earth, which meant being a good steward, they messed up this earth. Well, what's happening today? Look at America. And here's the statistics we used last week. So in 1960, when the government, Health and Human Services, started doing these statistics of children born out of wedlock, across the board, all ethnicities, we were at 5%. Now, guess what it is today? And I hope people in the audience are listening. It's 41% of all American children are now born out of wedlock. So check that out. That's 41 out of 100 children are born out of wedlock. 90% of those are in fatherless homes. Now, the experts from the Heritage Foundation say that they've studied all of 72 world civilizations, the Babylonians, the Athenians, the Roman Empire. Any society that goes past 40% children born out of wedlock, divorce, immorality, what we're seeing, those societies, world civilizations, were destroyed from within. So America has to have, and the point, and Joe, you're the tipping point is 40%. We're at 41%. Now let's break it down, because people want to talk about ethnicity. Okay, well, let's break it down, because poverty is not related to not having money. Poverty is basically related to family structure. And so here, let's look at the numbers. Getting back to 1960, they only took track of European Americans and African Americans. They didn't do Asians, Hispanic. And so in 1960, in the European American community, it was at 3%. Now it's up to 31%. The biggest increase, 1,100%, is in the European American community. From 3% to 31% of all European American kids now born out of wedlock. That's incredible. Now, if we look at the African American community, or descendants of American slaves community, back in 1960, it was at 22%, which is pretty high. Now, backtracking, 1940, it was only at 14%, and at the turn of the century, 2000 to 2010, guess what? The African American community had a higher rate of married couples than the European American. So what does that mean? They had stronger families because they were righteous, godly people. The ancestors of American descendant slaves were godly, righteous people. And they were married, they took care of their kids more than the European Americans. Now what happened, because of welfare, the trick of the devil, kicking the father out of home, it went from the best in the country in 1900 up to 1920. 1940, it was at 14%. 1960, it ballooned to 22%. Guess what? Now today, it's ballooned to 74% of all African American descendant slave children are born out of wedlock. Now, as I said, 1960. Now, since the 70s, they started recording 4 ethnicities, which is European Americans, African Americans, Asians, and Hispanic. And we'll get into this later about the Kentucky Derby and the Final Four, but these numbers will relate how the family breakdown relates to poverty. And it's the single indicator, because the foundation, the scripture tells us, if the foundation is destroyed, everything else goes. And we know that in a house or a building, if your foundation is not strong, the building's going to collapse.
All right. Well, it looked like we had that 9:15 minute here. We want to thank the family moment.
Peter Hayes.
The
American
Peter
Family
moment.
Association. That's good stuff.
Yeah, very good stuff. And now we're going to go to a break, and we'll be right back, truth be told. Hey, folks, it's Mr. Just Ask Joe from the Truth Be Told Show. It's HistoryUntold400.org. Remember, you never know where you're going until you know where you've been. HistoryUntold400.org. Check them out. you, Truth Be Told, for allowing God's Lives Matter to be a sponsor. Wearable product as the purple t-shirt is bearing witness to every life created by God has infinite value. This is God's Lives Matter. What's up, folks? This is Mr. Just Ask Joe, and I want to tell you about a quaint little spot called D Nally's. Awesome food, great price, 970 South 3rd Street. Remember, D Nally's, 970 South 3rd Street. Check them out. Get something good to eat.
All right, well, we're going to go right into our segment 2, and as you notice, we have a different format of how we're doing things because we are a listening audience. You know, stick to the subject. Keep it less me showing.
Less
we
me
just trying
showing,
to do
but
something.
still me showing. Being me showing.
But a little stuff. So this segment here is going to be, Just Ask Joe. Mr. Joe is going to go and take us into a conversation that I'm sure a lot of us don't want to talk about. But go ahead, take it away.
Man, it's about to get sticky in here, and that's not because of the end result of this conversation. But we're gonna talk about fornication, baby, fornication. You know, somehow that ties together. But yeah, the fornication family breakdown is the #1 problem in the ADS community. ADS stands for American Descendants of Slave Folks, in case you didn't know, and not white racism. What? Oh my gosh! I can't believe it. Family breakdown is #1 issue in America among all ethnicities, as Better Days with Peter Hayes just explained, folks. So, just remember that as we've reached a tipping point. We're over 40% in America of children being born out of wedlock, right? So the family structure, the nuclear family, is no longer the focal point here in America. And then when you break those numbers down at over 40% and you start breaking it down by ethnicities, then, oh my gosh, the ADS community, we are over 70% kids being born out of wedlock. You guys are, a lot of us are stuck on celebrity, right? And so if you look at celebrity, every day, one's hooking up with the other, and then they're hooking up with the different celebrity, and they keep their circle tight, and people are paying too much attention to it. I think that's my thoughts. What do you guys think as far as how we got here? Uncle Bishorn, go ahead and give us a quick little synopsis. Then we're gonna pass it back to Better Days with Peter Hayes, and you guys just kind of give me an idea of what you think is the reason why.
Well, we have on our thing here, it says, what is right for us in America? Men demonstrating self-control, men defending their perimeter, fathers in the house, and husbands faithful in their marriage. If you were to, focus on those specific things, I wonder what we would have the problem with the slap on the Oscars. I'm just, got to spot a little bit of, what's going on in real news and everything. What the slap occurred on the Oscars had the family matters been handled properly. Looks like Jada, done a little stuff outside the family and everything, and caused Mr. Will to not know how to handle himself in the public event and everything, and he over emasculated himself and everything in an event. And I'm just saying what I'm saying. I got to be Uncle Misha, and I got to keep it 100 and everything. I think it's a family problem. Okay, there's a family problem that was going on there, and the world witnessed it. The world witnessed it, and I'm going to say it on the air. I'm predicting that the slap that the whole world sees is going to be evidence of the downfall of Black women being labeled as toxic for the success of a brother or husband try to be successful
That's a
in
you know.
America.
I feel like
It's the truth. It's a general.
I mean,
it's a general,
I hear you, but I definitely feel like that's a reach, man. You know, because I mean, Cain got mad and he killed Abel, but he wasn't dealing with family perimeter issues and things of that nature. He just was mad and he killed Abel. So I mean, ultimately, people get mad and they do things out of sorts due to their own ill emotional intelligence or their inability to control their emotional intelligence at a specific time, right? So, Peter, what do you think?
Now, I'm going to say it ain't so, Joe. Say it ain't so, Joe. Because you dropped some, you said the same thing that Reverend James Bevel said in Louisville, that the number one problem in the black community, to quote him, is not white racism, but fornication. Now, you dropped that on. Explain that, because you just said that we hear from everyone I go to, well, racism, the reason that the ADS and African Americans are in fourth place, fourth place is that because it's white racism. Now, white racism exists, but you just said that fornication and the breakup of the family is the number one issue, and you said the same thing that Reverend James Bevel, who, if anyone was saw the movie Selma, Common, the actor and singer out of Chicago, played James Bevel in that movie, so he was very prominent. Now, explain that. Say it ain't so, Joe.
Well, I mean, when you look at it and you start talking about that breakdown, I mean, we're talking about the inability to keep it in the pants, for the guys. And I'm not gonna put it all on the guys, because there's some women out there that love to do the doggone thing. You know what I mean? And they're not worried about that breakdown. I know a woman right now who is knowingly cheating with a man who is pretty much married, right? And she doesn't care, right? So it goes both ways, and it's a situation where at some point it's gonna come back to bite you. I'll be honest with you. I was listening to a story yesterday, and I was just like, man, I'm so glad that my desire to cheat is not there. I mean, I'm happy about that. I don't feel that anymore. I'll be honest. When I was younger, I was out there doing some things and whatnot, but I just don't have that desire anymore. And now the question is, where did that desire come from? And we can always talk about how we got here. We know how we got here, right? We were used to breed. It was all about breeding. Hey, you got to make another baby. You got to make another baby. I need more slaves, boy. So we know how we got here. But ultimately, we got to get ourselves up out of that. We got to get ourselves up out of that desire for that sexual intensity. So, Uncle Michon, hey, and I want to let anybody know, hey, y'all can call in and comment 502-571-1240 at any point if you want to comment on this. But go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I think
I got one. Michon, let me bring this one thing up. So I came up with a saying: if the sisters keep it tight, the brothers will act all right.
Oh, smack. Well, that's almost as close as don't tap what you can't manage. I truly have said this,
that's both ways right there. It works both ways. Go ahead.
And you guys don't tap what you can't manage. Don't put it all off on the sisters and everything, because I found that too many brothers. I think I'm just gonna go. I keep going back here because I'm trying to use this as an example. I believe it's impossible for me to not believe that Will didn't understand Jada was just too much for him to handle. I mean, she had already showed that she was the Tupac girlfriend, okay? So somewhere down the line, okay, he should have known what he was about to tap. So I say don't tap what you obviously can't manage, okay? And I believe that the results of him not taking a evaluation on who that he was about to tap is biting him in the. Oh, we got a caller. We got a caller. Get this caller.
Welcome to the Truth Be Told show.
Good morning, brothers. This is a very, very volatile conversation that you guys are having, especially when you begin to call out women. And the reason I'm saying that is because you're exactly right, especially when it comes to breathing. Just like you say, Brother Joe, I tell any young person that if you really want to be successful, there's three things that you do. And the first thing is keeping it in your pants. Look, brother, everybody say, it takes two to tango. That's true. But realize, that women are being very irresponsible in the children that they bring into the world. It's women. A man, he can have sex with a woman that live in California and get on a plane and go back to California. Now, here the woman is, she's out here having these back-to-back lust babies. I'm just being graphic. I think basically all of us were born out of lust. I don't know of any honor. Well, they say a piece of paper make it more honorable, but you're still down lust. David said, in iniquity, sin was I conceived. In iniquity was I shapen. So you look at the act itself. The act itself is lustful. There's no other way that you can put having sex. So this is one thing that I really want to touch on. Women, they got to learn responsibility. You just can't go out giving every man you meet a baby, because men are basically have a beast like, as you say, Brother Joe, when you were younger, and me and everybody else, you can wait until you get married. You can do everything and then get married, and then now you can legitimize what you did because you're married. Well, I got married. I used to do it, but I don't do it anymore. But I think women are going to have to be more responsible in who they allow to come between their feet, brother. And until we deal with the real topic, the real issue, the issue is women. Women, you got to stay away from these greedy, thirsty individuals who have sex with anybody. No commitment, just have sex. And men, if you really want to be successful, don't tie yourself down to the system. And then go out and get a job. You can get anything if you don't have the responsibility of taking care of a woman's children. So bottom line is, yes, I think it all begins with when it takes two to tango, and then finally, in closing, brothers, men are called sperm donors. They're sperm donor. And, my baby daddy ain't no good. Well, if he was good enough for you to lay down with, you lay down with, you let this man come between your legs, get up into the sacred place.
Don't talk about him now.
You bring it kind of strong.
Yeah, okay, then, brother. Like I said, I had some more to it. But anyway, thank y'all so very much for allowing me the opportunity to get in. People need to take responsibility over all of these babies that's coming into the world.
Amen.
That's what we need to do.
Amen.
And we call that the strong point.
Yeah. Hey, we have a unlearn to relearn we need to drop in here and everything before the next segment and everything, because I think it's kind of important that we drop this on here. So let's go ahead.
And then come do commercial and come on back.
Yes, sir.
Tom Burrell's Brainwashed, as Black abolitionist David Walker argued in his 1829 pamphlet, appealed to the colored citizens of the world. American slave owners, unlike their counterparts in some other slave-based economies, had no regard for familial attachment. In fact, they made a conscious, willful decision to control slaves' minds through decimating the black family. Deconstructing the very concept of black family was central to the massive enterprise to build a new economy and to lay the cornerstones of personal fortunes. Assessing this from a not have Africans with any vestiges of the family brand. In layman's terms, the black family had to be destroyed, and the first order of business was to alienate the black family's designated protector, the black family.
Hey folks, this is Just That Show from the Truth Be Told Show. It's HistoryUntold400.org. Remember, you never know where you're going until you know where you've been. HistoryUntold400.org. Check them out.
Thank you, Truth Be Told, for allowing God's Lives Matter to be a sponsor. Wearable product as the purple t-shirt is bearing witness every life created by God has infinite value. This is God's Lives Matter.
What's up, folks? This is Mr. Just Ask Joe, and I want to tell you about a quaint little spot called D Nally's. Awesome food, great price, 970 South 3rd Street. Remember, D Nally's, 970 South 3rd Street. Check them out. Get something good to eat.
All right, I guess this is my segment here, fellas. I guess I'm on. I'm gonna, just gonna go ahead and keep it going. You're talking about what we're talking about and everything. So let's just go ahead and jump right on this right now. Right now, here it is. Whether you like it or not, it is what it is. We got the Kentucky Derby coming up, right? The top 3 horses matter: win, show, or place. Everybody bet money for win, show, place. Based on the data, American Descendants of Slaves does not get a trophy for just living in America off the land. I'm sorry. If you come in 4th place, you don't get a trophy, okay? So you either have to participate and show, you got to win, show, or play. Let's go to the Olympics. The Olympics, it's gold, silver, or bronze. To the top 3. There's no medal to the 4th place. So hey, brother, I'm just trying to, we're trying to use some analogy to understand. People get on me. I actually have had local people in the community say, "Me, Sean, why you so hard on us? Why you so hard on us? Why you don't point at the white man, white man, white man, white man, white man, white man? Why you always pointing at us?" Well, I used the analogy when it was time for me to get my wife and I to look into buying a home. We had to start in our house and improve our credit scores, lower our debt, and get a handle on our finances, and decide what we was going to do. And then once we done everything that we did, it is amazing. We qualified to buy a home, and we were able to move out and create economic position for us. It started with us. It started with my house. It started with in my perimeter. It didn't matter if I would have pointed at anyone outside and blamed them, saying, "I'm the reason. The reason I'm in this house, or the reason I'm in my job, the reason I'm doing this is because of the white man." No. I couldn't use that excuse. It started with my house. Started within my perimeter. It started with me doing what I need to do. So I have people tell me, "Hey, Joe, this is my segment. Let me go here, okay?" I've had people call me and tell me. I've had local older brothers have said, "You sound like you bragging. Me, Sean, you always sound like you bragging. You woo. I like, well, hold up, bro. It ain't bragging if it's true, okay? It ain't bragging if I live one way and I turned it around, I'm supposed to give a report on that.
You got to let them know it's an ongoing testimony.
It's an ongoing, that's right. I love that, Joe. Thank you for coming. It's an ongoing testimony. Just because you may, and I'm going to use, people wonder why we keep going to Genesis, okay? I just noticed that a lot of people really don't spend any time wondering, why did Cain kill his brother? Joe, just for this segment here, as we're talking about show, place, okay, I believe that Cain might have got a little jealous of the offering that was being presented by God.
You think?
Huh?
You think?
We don't even know the story that they had, right? We don't know the story that they had, right? We just know that when God saw Cain feeling a little way, Peter, you know the story. God stopped him and asked him, "What's going on? You do not have to do what's in your heart. You don't have to do it." And God being a principle God, he didn't get in the way of trying to prevent him. He allowed him to have free will. And then after Cain went and did what he did, God met him again. Where is your brother? Joe, what's the famous word? What did he say to God? Got a little smart. Got a little smart with God.
He said, "Hey,
what
dog,
did he say?
am I my brother's keeper?"
Yeah,
I don't know about
smart.
that, dude.
Yeah. Like, and the
What is
prelude
he,
to that
my
was
brother?
God heard his brother's blood calling out from the land, so the Lord already knew. He was watching what was going on, so it was like, "Hey, where's your brother?" You know, and then he snapped back at him. "Why are you asking me?
Right.
Am I my brother's keeper?" Now, interesting, people say we are a brother's keeper. You know, in that segment, the Lord never asked them, said, "Yes, you are your brother's keeper." That's something very interesting. The question was, Cain said, "Am I my brother's keeper?"
Yes, a very good point. I've had people ask me, why do we keep going to the Genesis and having a conversation to talk everything we need to know about today's society, everything you need to understand about living life, everything you need to know about winning a race, winning the race so you can win, show, and place is in Genesis. It's all right there. Did y'all know that? Joe, did you know that?
Hey,
And think about it, going back to that top win, place your show, or gold, silver, bronze, there was 3 responsibilities: be fruitful, multiply, have dominion.
Say that again, Peter. Those are the 3. Did it? The most important thing, did it change? Has it changed?
I would say no. If you know, and
somebody gonna get mad though. They're gonna be like, "Well, if you say be fruitful and multiply, well, that's what we doing, dog. We over 70%."
Well, and here that's just why we have to differentiate fruitful, multiply. A lot of people put it together because there was males and females. So for a male to be fruitful, even today, it's like our man up 5 principles. You have to be man up as an individual and a provider. So you need to be a good person and take care of your bills. Okay, that's simple. That's being fruitful. And then next, that once you are a good person, get some education, some skills, and provider means you can pay your own bills, then you go into relationship of being manning up as a husband, get yourself married, and then father children. It's not, what's happening in our society is a lot of our young people are skipping being fruitful and providing, being they're not manning up or womaning up as individual providers. They're skipping to the multiplication, outside of marriage. So this is chronological. Be fruitful means Adam and Eve, and, Mishar and Joe and Peter become a decent man, a godly man, and then learn some skills so you can pay your own bills. And then you go in a relationship with a female, or if you're a woman, you go in a relationship with a male, then you're ready to multiply. And we tell our kids, Joe and Misha, we got kids, do we ever tell our kids, well, before you graduate from high school and get a good job, go ahead and, have some kids out of wedlock?
Hey, well,
any parent to tell their kids that? No, it's be fruitful first, then multiply, and then you'll create a good neighborhood.
Hey, the engineer here just told us it's called being spiritual.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to mature on from the condition that you was born in. And you know what? This is a gospel religious channel, right? I mean, am I right? I mean, this is where we are, right? All right. So can we talk about I was born in a condition, okay? In the condition that I was born in, I recognized it wasn't working. And so I turned into my creator looking for a new understanding. And through studying and understanding, I became reborn out of it and found new truth. Why do we don't talk about that enough? Okay. You know, we're all born into a condition. I can tell you that I was not always been, you know, the Uncle Mishon I am today. Okay. Married to the woman that I have today, 25 plus years, provided for my children, both doing me and sister. I've not always been that person. I was once born into a condition, and I had to learn how to come out of that condition to become the man that I am today. I can honestly tell you multiple times, and I'm going to get a little personal here, multiple times I slept with multiple women. And I remember, Joe, I remember laying in bed after we had done what we did. Can you have a child? This is after she done slept with me multiple times. Now, I didn't realize sterile. This is how God works. Let me just tell you something. I look back at this and say, God, you protected me. I learned when I was in West Germany with my first wife, I was sterile. The urologist came up to me and told me, I got bad news for you, or good news, all the way how you look at it. He told me that my boy, my sperm, took a lunch. I only had, when everybody had 1 million, I only had 100. That's called sterile. Come to find out, I had an awakening. Y'all know I have all these epiphanies. I had an awakening. I realized, that's why I'm kind of hard with the women. I realized that all those women that I was having a relationship with, let's say 25 plus, before I got to my wife, 25 plus women, majority of them were trying to have my child because I had a military ID card. So they knew what they were doing, and I was just enjoying myself. Oh, my God. Okay?
They wanted that green card in America.
They wanted a green card, and they were trying to have my child. So the joke was on them, and God saved me, Vince. God honest, I have friends out there. I have friends that have multiple children with multiple women, and I didn't have to experience that, but I have a story that I can tell. That's what I'm talking about. Joe, talk to me, Joe.
Hey, man, you know, amen. There you go. You know, I mean, when you look at this, you know, you were spared, and you know, and so you know, it depends on how you look at it. But I mean, ultimately, when we start talking about this again, this all I think that there's a direct correlation to our lack of knowledge of self, our lack of spiritual understanding. However you see fit, whether you divulge yourself in the Bible and gain some understanding from this book of historical knowledge, or whether you sit down and you say aloud to yourself, I need help, and you seek that help, and you say, if there's a God out there, I need help. However you find that spiritual understanding, there's a direct correlation to the lack of it versus the as far as our community, the 70% plus out of wedlock being had today, and the over 40% plus in America today of all ethnicities, children being born out of wedlock. There's a direct correlation there to our lack of spiritual understanding. So with that being said, folks, it is 9:45, and it is time to go ahead and break for commercial. So we will be right
We got a caller on the line. We got a caller on the line. Welcome
caller. Welcome to the Truth Be Told show.
I'm going to be brief. Now, Brother Mishon, you got to look at how fortunate you were. You know, they have a lot of men that are incapable of giving a seed to a woman, and the women get pregnant anyway. You know, so they say, well, I'm sterile. So you were very fortunate in fact that none of these women bring forth. I guess you know that. But then you brought out a very good point concerning Genesis. This is what I want to say briefly, is that that's exactly right. You know, Jesus told Nicodemus, you must be born again. Because Jesus knew that the whole world, all nations, tongues, and creeds were in a fallen state.
Right.
We were in a fallen state. This is why Jesus said this. So I just had to call it in to let the people know, the world know, that we had to be redeemed. That is, we got to go back to the garden. We got to take dominion through our God. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for letting me get in again. Have a great day.
And when we come back, Joe go take us to the NCAA Final Four. We're going to break it down. Joe, be right back on the Truth Be Told Show.
Hey folks, Mr. Just Ask Joe from the Truth Be Told Show. HistoryUntold400.org. Remember, you never know where you're going until you know where you've been. HistoryUntold400.org. Check it out.
Thank you, Truth Be Told, for allowing God's Lives Matter to be a sponsor. Wearable product as the purple t-shirt is bearing witness every life created by God has instant value. This is God's Lives Matter.
What's up, folks? This is Mr. Just Ask Joe, and I want to tell you about a quaint little spot called D Nally's. Awesome food, great price, 970 South 3rd Street. Remember, D Nally's, 970 South 3rd Street. Check them out. Get something good to eat.
All right. Well, I want to go ahead and get ready. I think Joe got something for us. I think y'all ready.
Hey, this is
Joe, what you got for him?
It's a new sports section that we're adding to the show, folks. And there's breaking news. There's a new NCAA Final Four, and I'm going to give you the schedule and results. First off, the Asians played the ADS. That's the American Descendants of Slave Community. And guess what? The Asians won. Absolutely. Europeans played the Hispanics, and, well, guess what? The Europeans win. There's a championship game, and it was the Asians against the Europeans, and the Asians won in a surprise upset, right? The consolation game is as the Hispanics versus the ADS community, and the Hispanics won. Now, do you remember when they had the 3rd place match? All right, so I want you guys to think about this. If there's anyone that can call in right now, right? And remember the last year that they had the 3rd place match in the NCAA, the championship games. If if you can remember that year, the last year, then you will win a T-shirt. All right, something sponsored by History Untold, whether it's God's Lives Matter or History Untold T-shirt. You're gonna win a T-shirt.
T-shirt, yeah, yes.
Absolutely.
You will win it. Very good. I like that, Joe. Like that.
So you're gonna win a T-shirt if
Joe,
you can call in and tell us what was the last year that they used to remember. They used to have the 3rd place match there. For those online, they get to see it. But yeah, so if you call in, and that's 502-571-1240, and just let us know what year was the last year that they had that 3rd place match in the championship games, right? Right now it's only two games. Go ahead.
Hey, Joe, can you just go back over the results real quick before Peter jumping? Did I miss something? Did I miss?
Now wait a minute. So I'm just looking breaking news. So you're saying the Final Four we just had was supposed to be Kansas, North Carolina, Villanova, and Duke. You're just saying they all got disqualified, and the Duke team are Europeans, Asians, Hispanics, and African Americans?
Yep, absolutely. That's what happened.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, when you really think about that, and folks, we're having a little fun with this, but when you start breaking down the numbers, all right, of kids out of wedlock and things of that nature, let's look at maybe some of the reasons why the Asians played the ADS and the Asians won. Asian students spend twice as much time in comparison to ADS students doing homework, and ADS students spend twice as much time watching TV. So this is one of the big reasons why the Asians are winning in the game of life. Okay, so right then and there, that's truth be told. And I want to let y'all know all about that. So you guys got any comments on any of that?
Hey man, I think we have been dropping it like it's hot, dropping some serious truth and everything. And in fun, fun, there is truth in fun, okay? And when you're dropping it like we've been dropping it, the name of our show is Truth Be Told. And I just will not, matter of fact, I just can't get off this air without saying that I saw something in the breaking news that somebody going to say that we need to go ahead and look at Mr. Greenberg as someone, potential candidate for us in the mayor race. And I just want to say, I'm an independent, so I have no loyalty to anyone, but I will say to this here. It's time that we stop following the traditional ongoing thing that we always done. And I just could not get off this air because if you're concerned about your family, if you're concerned about the past, if we continue doing the same thing that we've been doing, you're going to get the same results that we've been getting. And I cared about my family, and I did some change for my family, and we're living the fruits of those results. That's all I just had to
let me speak to that, Uncle B. Sean, if you don't mind. I mean, it's been over. I don't care who you loyal to, which party or what have you, which right wing, left wing of whatever bird of the same bird. I don't care who you loyal to. But here's the thing. Over 50 years, we've been voting in the 95 percentile Democrat, right? And, we had officers' knees on necks. We're still dealing with the same things. Now, on the Tipping Point Show, which is every Saturday morning, 9 a.m., you can check us out at thetippingpointshow.com. We talked about the idea that everybody in America needs mental health therapy because, in this country, don't nobody know which way is up for reals. But one thing you can rest assured that when you do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, that is the layman's definition of insanity. Okay? We are all insane because we vote in the 95 percentile for Democrat for over 50 plus years now. And we keep thinking it's going to change because somebody walk out and say they got hot sauce in their bag. Stop. Y'all need to stop. I don't care who you loyal to. Just try something different. Just try something different. I don't care. Everybody vote independent. I don't care. Everybody vote Republican. I don't care. Just try something different. Do something different and stop doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
And I love
Joe and me, Sean.
Hey, a real quick statement that here we go. Melanated people being pimped to again, okay, about what we think is best. Somebody think what is best for us culturally. Melanated people, nobody else get pimped the way we get pimped. And the results is we are 71%. We are in the fourth place. Fourth place in America.
Hey, they done sat there and used this Quintez Brown thing. We ain't seen no proof that this boy done really shot this dude. Yet they already making commercials, multiple commercials, pandering to black folks, trying to say that he understands because he got shot, allegedly, by somebody, and we ain't seen no proof yet, and y'all jumping on the bandwagon. Go ahead, Peter. You say something before we leave.
All right, go ahead, Peter Hayes.
Well, I just got a three-way call from Slave Master Democrat, and he's want me to share this knowledge on the Truth Be Told show. He said he is so happy that the descendants of free slave who used to be Republican are now 95% supporting his party, Slave Master Democrat. Oh my goodness, he just said, y'all some dumb fools because I enslaved your ancestors and started Jim Crow and KKK, and now 95% of their descendants, instead of supporting the Party of Freedom, they're supporting the Party of Slave Master Democrat. Oh, that's crazy. I'm channeling him right now. Now that's crazy. Now why would here's a question, I guess. How many Jewish people are members of the Nazi political party? What do you think, Joe Nishon? 0, because it would be insane. But you got 95%, and I'm a Democrat, so I can say this. You got 95% of descendants of American slaves, freed slaves, are voting for Slave Master Democrat. Oh wow! So he's really happy. He's just saying, boy, he wants to increase that from 95 to 99% because they're supporting him and betraying. Oh, he's saying y'all are betraying your ancestors.
Hey, Joe, you want to read something? I see you got something up. We get ready to go off the air here. I know I brought it up. I know I'm probably going to get some smack that I brought this up. But if we're going to change that 4th place position that we in, we got to be willing to try something different. So you heard that right here on the Truth Be Told show. Joe, what do you say to that, bro?
Hey man, let me say something about that. Greenberg just came out and he made a post about Matty Jones supporting his campaign. Well, let me say something about that. General Ahamra Mathis made a comment. There was a gentleman by the name of whatever his name is. We're not gonna say his name because I don't know. But the time is always right to do what is right. Dr. Martin Luther King. That's what this gentleman posted. Well, Ahamra Mathis, who is the general of the Louisville Black Panther Party, she said, Brian Ammon, I did say his name, Martin Luther King is the reason why we as Black people suffer across this nation when he endorsed Senator Kennedy as president and switched our political stance from Republican to Democrat. Feel-good speeches don't work on Black people when we know our history. Miss me with the MLK quotes, brother. This endorsement is humiliating. Preying on the vulnerabilities of Black people is a horrible and disrespectful way to run a campaign. We've had enough with Quintez, which the prosecution has yet released the evidence of this alleged shooting. Now this. And with that being said, folks, it has been another episode of the Truth Be Told show. We gonna check y'all out next week, same place, same time. Peace out.
Peace out. Hey, folks, listen to this show.
All right, cue the music.
Cue music.
Start the music.
Starting music.
Great show, Joe.
It's the Truth Be Told show, where we place America first. Honoring those who America has forgotten. Listen in and unlearn to relearn. As we set the record straight. And now, your host of the Truth Be Told show, Mr. Just Ask Joe and Uncle Nishorn.
All right, folks. All right, we're still live, and looks like Uncle Nishorn has jumped off. But Peter, that was a great show, man. I'm excited about that show. We got some points across. We're hitting maybe a 50,000 listening audience on WLLV, and hopefully everyone had their hearing aids turned up because that was a banger of a show. What'd you think?
Oh yeah, we're dropping some truth that no one else is talking. I listen to all the stuff. No one's talking about what we're talking about. It's old. You talk about the same old, and that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing time and time again, and expecting a different result. It's like that's not how it works. You got to change things up. Not all change is good because you can have bad change, but intelligence would lead you to say, well, wait a minute, this is getting me nowhere. And I'm a JFK Democrat. I tell people I'm pro-God, I'm pro-America, I'm pro-life, pro-family, pro-business, pro-union. But too many of my fellow regressive Democrats, I don't call them progressive, they're wanting to take us back into socialism, slavery. They're promoting Marxism and socialism, and they're also for killing babies. They're pro-abortion, pro-homosexuality. That's going against what we just talked about. Instead of learning to have self-control over your sexual organs and wait until your marriage. Hey, we all played the field. So, that song Amazing Grace, I once was lost, now I'm found. I was blind. That means a lot to us because we mature and we come into understanding. And why in the world, as you brought up, good point, when you put 95% of your eggs in one basket and that basket crashes, well, guess what? And I hate to say this, but the fact that, and I'm ashamed of my party, to be honest. I started a national campaign saying, and this is historical fact, as you know, the Democrat Party was pro-slavery. Okay, slavery would not have continued in America without one of the major parties in the world supporting slavery. The Republicans were anti-slavery. They were Christian abolitionists, what means about abolition of slavery, and they were fighting. And here's the Cain and Abel analogy. Who was the older brother? Democrats. They're the older political party. The younger brother, Abel, Republicans, were on the side of God. Democrats were on the side of the devil, that older brother. And they fought, right? Just like Cain and Abel. And the Democrats, here's a good thing. Guess who won? Abel won. The North won. We defeated the satanic Democrats. And so that was very important. What would have happened if the Democrats and the South won the war, Joe? You wouldn't be on the show. You'd be out picking cotton still. Let's keep it real.
I think I'd be in the house. I don't know.
A little bit of house. Yeah.
I'm pretty light skinned. I think I'd be in the house, But if you give me the mind that I have now, well, I'd be in the house trying to figure out how to take that fork and murder everybody.
Yeah. Like Django. Did you see the movie Django?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love that movie.
Yeah, I've seen it about 3 or 4 times, and it's very, very deep, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you had Stephen, who was the main house slave. Man, he was as, and when you think about it, he was as bad as Leonardo DiCaprio. He was worse, to be honest, wasn't he? I mean, you had the slave master who was terrible, but Stephen, who played him again? Samuel Jackson, right?
Yeah.
So, Jamie Foxx was the hero, Django, and his wife, right? Now, here's Joe. We talked about family. Why did Jamie go through all that? Why did he go through all that, risk his life for his wife, for his family, right? He went back to get his wife, didn't he? So how important that story was, the family to the freed slave, the ancestors. He risked his life, but the house slaves, which we say now in America, you got the 4 Ps. You got the preachers are house slaves for slave master Democrat. You got the African American politicians are the house slave for slave master Democrat. The TV pundits and the radio pundits that's the 3rd P. And then the 4th P is the professors. These are the African American professors. And all 4 of them are house slaves for slave master Democrat. And the house slave role, and Stephen's role, is to make sure the field slave, 95%, stay on the Democratic slave plantation, Democratic Party, because here's what they don't like, the 5%. You and Uncle Meachorn, Independents and Republicans, they are the runaway slave, okay? Now, unfortunately, it's only 5% runaway slaves. Now, they're the heroes. Just like back in the day, the runaway slaves were the heroes. The slave master was evil. The house slaves were evil because they were getting some benefit from the slave master, and then they were brainwashing the people. Oh, you can't leave. Don't become a runaway slave. Master's going to take care of you. But the runaway slaves were the heroes because they risked their lives for freedom and their family. So that's the modern day situation. You have the slave master Democrat Party and his ancestors. You got the house slaves, which are the 4 Ps, preachers, politicians, pundits, and professors. And you got the 95% field slaves, which are the 95% that are voting for the same old. And it's if they were voting for a Republican, that'd be crazy. But guess what? They're voting for the Cane Party. They're voting for the party of slavery, KKK, and Jim Crow. And what I said to our National Democratic Party leadership, we are not a legitimate party. And let me ask you this, Joe. There's 2 political parties. Can you be a legitimate political party in the world if you're pro-slavery, founded the KKK, and created Jim Crow, and you never apologize for that? Think about that.
No, I mean, I think that's ludicrous when you really think about it.
So here's what I'm asking the Democratic Party, my party. I said, listen, we need to do 3 things to make it right. We need to, first of all, repent before our gods, have a national day of prayer, repent for our support of slavery, KKK, and Jim Crow. Number 2, we need to apologize to the American descendants of slaves. And that's the party, not Congress, I'm talking about the party. And then number 3, we need to pay at least a minimum of $100 billion in reparations to the descendants of American slaves. So, and until we do those 3 things, repent before God, apologize, and pay reparations or inheritance to those American descendants, we are not a legitimate party. We're illegitimate. And so I'm telling my fellow Democrats, if our party does not do those 3 things, and I started a petition, Peter Hayes will never vote for a Democrat until our Democrat Party does those 3 things. Once we do those 3 things, repent, apologize, pay reparations, then we're a legitimate political party. We're illegitimate. Just like the Nazis are a political party. Who respects the Nazi political party, right?
No, you're absolutely right, and you're hitting a lot of nails on the head. And as we close out, I just say that I wish there were more of your constituents, more that look like you, and even more of us that thought the same. Because if we would fight for those things, together, then we all can accomplish it, put us all on an even playing field. Hey, if you screw up with the money that you're given, then hey, you screw up. But I have a thought that there's never been a time where you had all of the melanated community in America, all of American descendants of slaves, that had a surplus all at one time. And I feel like if you did that, then, I mean, the same way that people pander to the community simply for the purposes of redirection, without substance, then I think you would still have people pandering to those that got that surplus to say, hey, I can help you invest that money. Hey, I can help you put that money in the right places, so that your family won't have to worry for the next several generations, right? So I think that if we fought to give that a try, hey, the Indians got theirs, they still complain, but hey, no taxes and sacred land to live on. I mean, that's a leg up. to me, there's a lot of communities that got theirs. I mean, even during the Obama administration, he was still funneling money to the Jewish community. So the Jewish got theirs. It's time for the people that helped build and invent pretty much everything in America at a 95% rate to get theirs. Yeah. It's time for the ADS community to get theirs, and it's only if we can wake up, smell the coffee.
What I'm saying, Joe, and legally, if you go to sue someone, they have to be part of the party, right? You can't, if you go to a restaurant and you fall down, let's say you go down to a restaurant, let's say you go to Cracker Barrels, right? And you fall down and you sue it. Can you sue McDonald's at the same time? No. Who would you sue?
No, you can't.
Who would you sue?
You would sue Cracker Barrel.
Why?
Because you fell down in Cracker Barrel.
Okay, so here's the problem with the reparations movement outside of what I'm talking about. The party of slavery was the Democratic Party. Republicans were anti-slavery. So why would you make Republicans and independents like yourself pay for what the Democratic Party did? They're Cracker Barrel, and yet say, well, we want to sue Cracker Barrel, we want to sue Burger King and McDonald's. Well, wait a minute, dude. McDonald's, you didn't fall there. You didn't fall at the Burger King. Guess what? So legally, the major institution that supported slavery and founded the KKK as a terrorist arm and was the father of Jim Crow, how are they going to defend themselves in court? Now, America could say,
so how would for the layman out there, how would anyone sue a party? What is the official organization that would need to be sued?
Well, here's and I'm working on a $100 billion class action lawsuit. Okay, awesome. Here's who we're going to sue. The Democratic National Committee, the official party, all the national Democratic organizations. We're going to sue all 50 state Democratic parties and all 3,000 Democratic county parties. And guess what, Joe? We're going to sue every single elected Democrat official from Biden, Harris, senators on down to sheriff. And now they're going to have to prove why they should not be party to that suit. And just think of the poop storm that's going to create, because we'll go on every single radio show, TV show, and say, you're doing what? We have a class action suit for $100 billion. I said $100 billion. We could add, here's why I put $100 billion. Biden and Hillary Clinton spent $2 billion on their presidential campaign. So, if we take that $2 billion a year that they're raising and spending, 50 years, that's $100 billion. And, so that's a reasonable number. We could say $1 trillion is, it's relative, but, the fact of the matter. So here's the strategy. They'll either pay up or the poop storm, because when people, as you know, those 95% of field slaves, they don't know this. They don't know that their party was the party of slavery, KKK. They've been brainwashed by the house slaves, the preachers, the politicians, the pundits, TV, radio, and the professors to think that the Republicans are the KKK and hateful people. But no, snap, it's not the case. So that's the strategy. Now, they're either going to, and we're also going to sue every registered Democrat in America. Okay. Now, we'll add them all to the suit. The Supreme Court and the judges will have to say, no, we can't sue every Democrat. But guess what? I'm a Democrat. I'm going to get a notice that, hey, you're being sued and you can settle for $1,000 and we'll take you off the lawsuit. Well, imagine that. So there's 120 million Democrats are going to get sued. Every county party, every state party, the national party, every elected Democrat in America. And they're going to put on pressure on the Democratic Party, say, well, wait a minute. I thought we apologized, repented, and apologized for slavery. And here's what we learned. They never did. They haven't done that. Say, well, wait a minute. We never apologized to the descendants of American slaves for being a party of slavery? No, we didn't. We never apologized for starting the KKK as a terrorist arm and killing Republicans. And most, here's the KKK history. It was created to kill and terrorize Republicans. So 1/3 of all the people murdered by the KKK were European American Republicans. People don't know that. 2/3 were African American Republicans because they wanted to vote. And 100% of the freed slaves were Republicans, because why would you be a member of the party of slavery when you're a freed slave? Like, the point is, how many Jewish people are part of the Nazi party? 0. If a Jewish person joined the Nazi political party, could you even imagine that? They tried to exterminate the Jews. Slave Massa Democrat enslaved, tortured, and murdered and killed your ancestors. And so that's the reasoning, that when people, and these woke people that are all Democrats, say, well, wait a minute, I can't be part of a political organization that's pro-slavery, KKK, and Jim Crow, and we never apologized for that? Oh my goodness, I didn't know that. So that'll put so much pressure. And so they will have to settle this lawsuit. They either pay the $100 billion, we'll negotiate it, but everyone who's part of that class action lawsuit will get a portion of the money. Some of it we're going to use for economic development. We're not just going to give people checks for support HBCUs, some of the economic stuff you're working on. And I've talked to a lot of my descendant American slave African American friends that, Peter, I'm on board, sign me up, because I want to be part of this class action suit. And the Democrat Party will either pony up or they'll go bankrupt. And that would be a great thing, because if they don't do those 3 things, if they don't repent, apologize, and pay reparations, they're not a legitimate party.
Man, this has been some interesting stuff here, and I tell you, I love it. I could listen to this stuff all day. But we're gonna go ahead and end the after show part of this program, man. And man, you've given me a lot of social media posts, so appreciate it. Better Days with Peter Hayes. Once again, this has been another episode of the Truth Be Told show, and this has been somewhat of an after show. So yes, we will see you guys next week. All right.
Take care.
Take it easy, Peter.
All right, cue the music.
Cue music.
Start the music.
Starting music.
And go.
It's the Truth Be Told show, where we place America first. Honoring those who America has forgotten. Listen in and unlearn to relearn. As we set the record straight. And now, your host of the Truth Be Told show, Mr. Just Ask Joe and Uncle Nishorn.